The headline writers are having a field day with this one because the package has been delivered, Joey.
Yes.
And has landed on the Giants' doorstep. There we go.
Anth, our producer, was happy. They spent all day getting this one done, and everyone, all the team back there. Look at that. Well, as we spoke about earlier, he's going to be a great addition, I think, to this football club. We know what he's capable of. Again, they'll make it work. In there, does Toby Green play a slightly different role? They've got Cadman and Hogan, who are elite talls, and then we know about the amount of smalls they've got as well. So the Giants, look, they're in pretty reasonable shape, but we'll chat in a minute about the players that they're losing, which is some real depth. You can see they're 4 players that are fringe and in their best 22, so that leaves them a little bit thin. Doesn't it, Kingy, when you think about the sort of, if their best 25 get some injuries and aren't quite working, they're going to really have to go to some youngsters. When you look at Angwin and Ware and Stone, Gothard, Fonte, Rouston, McMullen, there's a whole bunch of kids that haven't really been exposed to much senior footy that are going to have to step up if they do get some injuries with the players.
A dozen top 20 picks in the last 6 years. There's talent everywhere on this list, and we're just seeing it. They just have to win one. It's as simple as that. They should have closed the deal in the third quarter and the last quarter against Brisbane, and we'd probably have a different conversation right now. They didn't, and they're still looking for that 1 to 2 goals. Stringer can do that for them, but their leaders now have to deliver again. The depth is not there. So the same guys that they've relied on for the last 4 or 5 years are going to have to go top of the tree again.
Have they got too many players who want to start from the square? So, of course, Jesse Hogan, the Coleman medalist, Toby Green at times, Jake Stringer, do they start their leads from too deep and all of a sudden will be too many balls in the paddock, or do you believe that they can integrate that successfully?
No, I think they mix. We've seen Jesse Hogan work right up the ground. He can get up. He's got a good motor. Cadman is an athlete. Toby Green can play high as well. So I think they'll all work in really nicely together. They're pretty young down there. We've heard Toby Green a lot. It was really only him and Hogan with a bunch of kids. So they get some more experience with Stringer, and I think they can make it work.
If the success of Stringer can be anything like the success of Jesse Hogan, whose career really looked over and done with, they'll be incredibly pleased with that. Ralphie, the headlines today surrounding the Giants and the Wacky Wednesday you mentioned earlier. How many players could we see out from their best side round one?
We could see 6 players suspended from that round one side. So effectively it was a Wacky Wednesday celebration in September 18, and the theme was troubled partners. Now it was in a private room, but there was a wait staff. There was also talk about whether one of the partners of one of those players found out about the details of it. Now, as Mark Robinson has reported in the Herald Sun, a pair of players dressed up as the Twin Towers, troubled partners. As I say, up to 6 players will be suspended. Toby Green right now is facing not a suspension but a $20,000 fine, because I think pretty much he didn't prevent it. He should have said, as soon as we saw some of the nature of some of those dress-ups, he just should have said, guys, we run a long way from this. So Jetta Burst has put out a statement saying some of the allegations are distressing and entirely contrary to the club's values and policies. There is also a level of misinformation and rumour being circulated, which is inappropriate. So right now those penalties are with the players and their management group. Some of them will push back and put submissions in. But yeah, I think the likes of Josh Fahey and others will be suspended by the AFL. Just another reminder again that, even if you're in a private room, everything is public these days, and people like Toby just should have known better.
Well, we'll watch this one with interest over the coming days with the AFL's Integrity Unit to have a look at that. What about the Bombers, David King, and their inactivity really during this trade period? As you mentioned, taking a very hard line with Jake Stringer, but other than that, the focus is not on short-term fixes, but the draft.
Yeah, and it's always been about tomorrow with the Bombers. That's my reservation with Essendon. When will it come good? When will that year be where they rise up the ladder? But I do marvel at their stance with Jake Stringer. The noise coming out of Essendon, OK, they haven't screamed this from the rooftops, but they've been disappointed with the professionalism, the preparation to the start of season, in season, the ability to tackle and chase. They want to set a different set of standards. And I love the fact that they've been firm to that and strong to that today. Hey, it's late, but it's finally here.
I'm still trying to work out their plan. It feels like they've pivoted from last trade period where they brought in 4 senior players, including Todd Goldstein, a veteran. This year they almost tried to get a couple out. There was a talk of Laverde was in a similar situation to Stringer, Dylan Shield as well. So they've wanted to do that. They're going to get Kako in, who's going to be a lively small forward, and we've seen what Nick Watson could do in his first year. Both sides of the footy can score but can also tackle and pressure. Is that going to be enough to get them what they need, or they have to rely on the natural improvement of some of these youngsters that we're still waiting for? The Perkins and Cox and these guys to keep going to the next level.
Yeah, if only we had an Essendon supporter here to ask about whether they were frustrated by the can being kicked down the road. Now, Brad Scott said at the start of the year, not that we're rebuilding, but that we have a rebuilding profile. And then, of course, they pushed to a first rounder into next year. Sarah, It's been 20 years, I think you're fully aware. What do you as an Essendon fan think about tomorrow being the day? Just be patient, Sarah, be patient.
I do see what David is saying, that it is often said that it's not this year, it's further down the road, but there's no point in having short-term solutions, that they've got to go all in on a process, and I trust that Brad Scott's got it under control.
Yeah, trust, that's great. Now, Isaac Kako, he's going to be...
That was a little
Is that a little bit cynical?
It was
Isaac Kako's going to be so exciting. This club has not had an elite small forward. I'd say maybe Darren Buick. You know, back to those. So who was it been?
Darren Buick.
Yeah, so he's got everything. He's electric. He gets up and down the ground. He's good overhead. He's got a fantastic pair of dreadlocks. He's Iraqi, so that's why he's in the NGA program. As you said there, we saw what Nick Watson was able to do. You think of Anthony McDonald, Tipper Woody.
I was going to say, Tipper had a few good years. Yeah.
Not as good as Darren Buick.
No, exactly. So the point is, this is a positional type this club has cried out for. So let's just hope that Nate Caddy and Isaac Kako can say, we're going to put this club on our shoulders from 2025 onwards.
Caddy, Hobbs, Sardis, Cox, Perkins, Reid. They're the high-end picks that are either going to make or break this rebuild. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and some big question marks on some of those top-end picks and the ability to get on the field. I mean, Reid really has not played enough football, so...